On today's episode, the first flight of Endeavour,
Hey!
satellite recovery, and bovine insulin.
What?
Exactly. So, welcome everybody to End of Mission, the podcast where we talk about space missions that have ended. I am not Earl the Lincoln dealer.
Thank God.
I'm Paul the pressure-fed astronaut. And who are you?
I am Face of Sarcasm. I have been and always shall be Face of Sarcasm and no one else. Oh,
That's
gosh.
good. That's good. Yep. So today we're going to talk about the first flight of Endeavour. So if you didn't watch or couldn't stomach the last episode, the last special, no, wait, this one's coming out in August. We're doing the core before this.
Yeah.
So the one where we talked kind of funny. So Intelsat 603, where we left off with that, was stranded in low Earth orbit because of they didn't check their staging.
Whoops.
Whoopsie. And the first flight of Endeavour, the brand new space shuttle, is going to go up and fix it.
Brand spanking new, fresh out of the assembly line.
Yep. So let's talk a little bit about that, because this is the first flight we'll ever cover.
Yay! Yay! Woohoo! Were the other ones just not interesting?
Oh, no, we haven't gotten to those flights yet.
Oh, okay.
And the first flight of Columbia is going to be the second to last space shuttle mission we do. So
Dang.
that's like a decade away at least.
Yeah.
All right,
Wow,
so,
look at this collection of pixels.
yeah, I know. So NASA always wanted a fifth orbiter.
They did.
Yes. But Congress said, no, we'll only give you 4. And then Challenger happened.
Ooh. Yeah,
So-
you need another one now.
You need at least 4 to maintain what you want to do with the space shuttle. So NASA said, okay, we got to build a new shuttle.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the first proposal was, well, we have Enterprise. We're going to do it. We're going to do it last time. We did it. And then someone said, that costs too much money.
It would just be cheaper to build a new one from scratch.
Here's the thing. It wasn't built from scratch, though. So during the construction of the original orbiter fleet, there are structural spares built. So this is in the event. So let's say, your shuttle lands in the Los Angeles River for some reason, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And you lose part of the tail doing that,
Uh-huh.
right?
Uh-huh.
You build an extra so you can just replace it really quickly instead of having to build a brand spanking new one.
Oh, okay.
So what this chart should be showing to you is all these structural spare components built during the initial production run of the shuttle.
Okay. How many of them did they build?
Structural spares?
Yeah.
1.
Just one per shuttle or just one total?
Just one set, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
because if you think about it, the likelihood of an event that damages a wing or damages one of these components that requires you to replace it, that's a pretty low event compared to just completely destroys the vehicle.
Right. Yeah.
And the off chance that happens.
Right.
So they're going to say, we have all these structural spares, we'll build a space shuttle out of them. And so technically work begins at Endeavour in February 1982. In July 1987, that's when the contract is actually signed to build OV-105.
Okay.
The assembly is completed in July 1990, so it takes about 3 years to build one of these things.
Dang. It's a
But
long
you have most of the, I have pictures of these in the next slides, don't worry. And the vehicle's rolled out on April 25th, 1991. Right, because they gotta stack it, make sure you can stack this thing, roll it out, roll it back, and they do the flight readiness firing, which is, so they load it up, wet dress rehearsal, and they start the main engines for a second or two,
just to make sure that everything works. Like you fire up the engine, make sure the all the spark plugs are firing and all that fun stuff.
But even Vulcan did this before its first flight, and SpaceX also does static fires for flight readiness. That's their qualification for it.
Oh, okay.
But of course, with the shuttle, it's a lot different because it's on the side, so it lights up and it does the twang, right?
It wobbles back and forth.
Yeah, which apparently it's one of the scariest things of being on the shuttle.
I can imagine that is terrifying.
Yeah, because here you are, you're sitting in this thing, the main engines start, and then it just moves forward, and then on the way back is when they light the SRBs. They actually time it.
Yeah, it's like, okay, we're getting in the space shuttle, we're gonna go up, and then we start going sideways.
Yeah,
it's not right.
Yep, so they did the flight readiness firing on April 6th, 1992, so it takes a while, right? They're going through the processing. They're also getting got to do tests, make sure it's all ready.
The last thing you want to do is build a new space shuttle and it breaks first flight.
Yeah, and the tiles keep falling off or something,
Yeah.
So here's some interesting upgrades to the shuttle, because, right, this is 1992 versus 1982, the initial production run.
Yeah.
So you can upgrade the thing.
You've got a decade of time to see, okay, here's what sucks about the shuttle, here's how we can make improvements, yeah.
So this one is 6,000 pounds lighter than Columbia.
Ooh, wow, okay, put it on a diet.
Yeah. Well, you gotta remember, the first one built's always the heaviest.
Yeah, that's true.
Because, right, this is the first one, so you're going to be way more conservative with it than all the others.
Right.
But so this is the lightest shuttle built. This is the first one to use the drag chute.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it helps slow it down.
So the other ones just didn't use
Nope.
drag? No? Just
Nope.
straight up the chutes. Huh.
Yep, they just use body flaps and just hope.
Just prayer, the best way to land.
Which is funny, because I think Buran actually had a drag chute, and that flew in 1989. So.
Oh, so NASA was like, the Soviets tried to build a shuttle. They can't do it as good as we do. They use drag chutes. Okay.
Actually, it's pretty interesting.
We'll start taking notes.
We will do a special on Buran at some point. The one time it flew for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And then a building fell on it. So this also has equipment for what's called the Extended Duration Orbiter.
Ooh. What's that?
Well, the plan is fly the shuttle for up to 28 days.
Dang.
That never happened, thankfully.
Yeah.
Could you imagine being on that? Because, again, you've seen pictures of the inside.
Yeah, that tin can with 6 other people.
Yeah. Well, it'd probably have, like, a space hab on it. You know, it'd be one of those.
Yeah.
But still, 28 days on that thing is going to... The longest shuttle mission was 18 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
So-
want to go to space, but not for too long.
Yeah. Not in this. We're not going to stay in the minivan for a month, guys.
Yeah, we're taking a trip across America, and we have to sleep in the car, all of us.
And it's a Volkswagen.
Yeah.
So the other thing here's got, improved electronics, avionics, computers, and the like, Also had improved APUs.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So that's, it's an improvement, because,
Yeah,
you have 10 years of experience.
Yeah. Probably pretty good at building space shuttles at this point.
You'd hope so.
Yeah. It's the fifth try.
Yeah. So this is... Yeah, so these are actual parts during assembly. So you can see here's the crew cabin.
Yeah.
And, of course, it's mounted actually into, like, a shell, as you can see there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's more circular on the inside and then flatter on the outside.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I just remember there's diagrams for all these parts. I do structures on an airframe, so I know what it's like to look at stuff like this and look at, okay, I got all the bolts. Want to drill holes in the airframe, guys? You like doing that. So here's the payload bay, upside down, of course, right? So
okay.
Yeah, so what's under there would be like oxygen tanks and wiring and batteries.
Interesting.
And, of course, we've got the propulsion article.
Yep, because that's where the engines are supposed to go.
As you can see.
Mm-hmm. Because, there's the thrust structures behind it that the engines fire into.
Yeah, and, of course, there's the guy driving it, which that must have been the coolest job ever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, what do you drive? Oh, I drive the tractor that hauls the shuttle parts.
Yeah, I've done this 5 times.
Yeah. Makes me happy every time.
So how does Endeavour get its name?
I'm assuming they pick it out of a hat.
It's named by children.
Children came up with the word Endeavour.
Yes.
How old are the children?
So there's 2 winners. There's actually 422 names considered.
Oh,
it was a big contest, NASA sponsored. A lot of space probes are actually named by children.
Really?
The Mars rovers were named by children. I think Curiosity, Perseverance, those were named by children. A lot of mission. It's for school engagement, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's wow.
Of course, we'd say it's named by children. It sounds different connotation when I say it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm kind of expecting it to be more like named by children. I'm expecting those kinds of names, though.
Oh, trust me. I actually my first citation has the list of all of them. We'll go through a bit of them.
Okay.
So it's named Endeavour by Senatobia Middle School in Mississippi and Tallulah Falls in Georgia. Now, so what they had to do was, why did you pick this name? Here's what an experiment you do on the space shuttle if you could do one. It's cute.
Oh, okay.
Right? It's children coming up with space missions.
Yeah, that's fun.
Now you'll notice that Endeavour has the British spelling of it with the U instead of because it's named for HMS Endeavour, the sailing ship used by Captain Cook in his 1768 to 1771 expedition.
Oh, okay, that's pretty good. That's
yeah.
cool. Children came up with this.
Yeah, children back in 1768 explored things. You know,
Wow.
they went back in time. So that expedition was his first, where he went to the South Pacific and saw the 1769 Venus transit.
Oh, wow.
And he also discovered Australia. At least he's the first confirmed person to have discovered Australia that was European. Obviously, the Aborigines found it first.
Yeah.
The Dutch found New Zealand first. I think that's how it got its name. Because there's Zealand.
Yeah, Zealand and then New Zealand. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. It's also the name of the Apollo 15 command module.
Oh, okay.
And this flight would actually carry a piece of both of those vehicles.
Really?
Yeah.
They're trying to do a whole Ship of Theseus thing with it then.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
So there's 422 proposed names. So here's the top ones I noticed that NASA actually considered. There were other ones like Titanic.
Yeah, that's closer to what I was expecting children to come up with.
Titanic, Challenger 7, Challenger 2.
Yeah.
I think saw like an Enterprise in there. There's some regional bias in a few of these names too that they were considering. Like, oh, this famous explorer, right? So let's go down the list because a few of them will show up here.
Okay.
So Adventure, that's a good name.
Yeah.
The wooden space shuttle model I have that's you can see in my videos actually is named Adventure. So,
That's cool.
So on Cook's second expedition, that was the name of his ship. This is when he went to the South Pacific. Again, he did a lot of stuff in the South Pacific, like getting killed there.
Yeah, sounds right.
There was the Phoenix, which is a pioneering American steamship that helped open up commerce in the United States.
Oh, wow.
So it's a good name.
Yeah.
The Resolution, one of Cook's other ships that helped discover Antarctica.
That's a great name. I like that name.
The Victoria, the ship that Magellan was on during his circumnavigation, where he died halfway.
Yeah.
Dove, the first colony ship in Maryland. Where do you think the school was that named this one?
If I had to guess, I would say Boston.
Yeah, Maryland, Boston,
Maryland. Yes,
yeah.
exactly.
There was one called like the Chatham, which is named for like this British explorer who found a rock formation in Oregon. I'm dead serious.
What?
Yeah, regional bias.
Okay.
Then you got Calypso, which actually I think that's the name of the Starliner capsule docked to the ISS right now. As we're recording this in June, by the way.
Yeah. Nice.
So, yeah, it's named for Jacques Cousteau's sea vessel. You ever heard of Jacques Cousteau?
That name kind of sounds familiar a little bit.
This guy is like the Carl Sagan of the sea. And
Really?
he built like submersibles and like underwater habitats, and he did a lot of like marine research. He is a really big name.
Wow. Okay.
He was more famous back in the 90s than he is now.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, so, famous guy. The Nautilus, named for, Captain Nemo's ship, and then the first nuclear submarine, which went to the North Pole.
Hey, look at that.
Yeah, which is funny, because in the book 20,000 Leagues Under the Seas, they went to the South Pole.
Interesting.
Yeah. You can't go to the South Pole as a submarine, by the way.
Because it's a continent. It's physical land.
Then there's the Victory, an Arctic exploration vessel.
A lot of stuff with, like, the extremes of the Earth.
Yeah. Well, actually, Challenger was named for HMS Challenger, which is the namesake for Challenger Deep, the very bottom of the Mariana Trench.
That makes sense.
Yeah. See? So you have North Star, which is a exploration vessel that was searching for the Northwest Passage.
Okay.
The Pathfinder, which was named for the USS Pathfinder, which surveyed near Alaska. Where do you think this school was?
Hawaii.
Good guess. Horizon, which is an oceanographic research vessel.
Makes sense.
And then you have the Hakul. I pronounced that wrong. It's Polynesian. I'm sorry. It's an anthropological research vessel of Polynesian ship design. So they built a replica of a Polynesian ship to see what they did.
Oh, wow.
To sail around.
That's cool.
You think about the South Pacific, there's not a lot of, land.
Yeah.
So how did these guys go from this island to this island to this island?
Boat.
Exactly.
You build a boat.
You build a boat. So they did that.
Built, like, these awesome catamarans.
Yeah. So that's how Endeavour gets its name. It could have been Titanic.
Could have been Ocean Gate.
It could have been Deep Star. That was another name that was proposed because it's for like a exploration ship. Trieste for the ship that actually went to the bottom of the Challenger Deep. So there were some interesting names in there. There was Terror also.
Yeah, because of the Terror, which has
Franklin's
HBO
Expedition.
series after it, right?
Yeah, Franklin's Expedition.
Yeah.
Yeah, to seek the Northwest Passage, as the song says.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly. Of all of these, though, I really like Resolution. That's a good name.
That's a good. Also, especially considering the history, why Endeavour exists.
Yeah.
So here's one of the literal children that named this thing. It's funny when I say it that way, okay?
Here's one of the literal children.
So here's President Herbert. Here's Herbert Walker Bush, president, and here's Dave Walker. Hey, we've seen him. He's been in a few missions.
Oh yeah.
This is the Magellan deployment. This is STS-41 crew.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, and of course here's the rollout of Endeavour. Which look at that thing.
Ooh yeah, fresh off the assembly line, 0 miles on it.
Oh yeah, and you'll notice it does not have an RCS pod.
Yeah,
they're all over the
on
Cape
right now.
Yeah, it's all the Cape. It's built by children. It's paper mache.
Named by children's one thing. Built by children's completely different.
Yeah. So here's all the people. The rollout, of course. I think this is the crew here of our flight.
Okay.
Over there, and there's like the president and of the company. Because I think Rockwell had been bought by Boeing at this point.
Okay.
Because Rockwell built the shuttle, but Rockwell is now Boeing.
Boeing bought Rockwell.
Yeah.
Rockwell built
Again,
the
if you
shuttle.
look at like the Saturn V, it was originally built like by 10 different contractors who are almost all Boeing now.
Dang.
Yeah.
Huh.
So.
Good job, Boeing.
Yeah, good for them. So, yeah, so here's our crew. Here's our commander, Dan Brandenstein. He was born January 17th, 1943. He's from Watertown, Wisconsin.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of close to where we're from.
Oh, nice.
He's a Navy pilot and a physicist.
Dang.
His guys BS from UW River Falls. That's up near Stillwater.
Okay.
It's on the border with like Minneapolis, St. Paul, Twin Cities.
Oh,
it's around
okay.
there,
Okay.
if I remember correctly. He's from Astronaut Group 8, so he's a TFNG. His experience was Capcom and support crew for STS-1 and 2. He was the pilot on STS-8, which is actually our next shuttle mission, so we'll see him again soon. He was a commander on STS-51G and 32, and this is his last flight.
Dang. What a send-off.
Yep. So our pilot is Kevin Chilton, also known as Chili.
Okay.
He's born November 13th, 1954, from Los Angeles. He's an Air Force pilot and mechanical engineer. He got his MS from Columbia. That's one in New York City.
That's kind of ironic.
Yeah,
Because
he's only a
Endeavor's
model.
the replacement to Columbia.
No, Challenger. Columbia was 03. Oh
Oop,
my gosh. No, that's staying in.
Dang
I want
it.
to emphasize and repeat that multiple. I learned how to edit from Mike from Red Letter
gosh.
Media.
Dang it. I misspeak once.
Yep.
And then it just gets blown out of proportion. Thank you.
Yep. So he's from Astronaut Group 12. He worked on the IBSS. That's the infrared telescope that was flown on a few of the payloads.
Oh, yeah.
And then the OMV, the Orbital Maneuvering Vehicle program. So the idea was to build a space tug, liquid space tug, which of course never flew.
Cool.
And he was the safety officer on the T-38.
Nice.
This is his first flight. So
it's the commander's last flight and the pilot's first flight.
yes.
Nice.
For everyone else, it's their second flight. I'm dead serious.
Wow.
He's also a member of the astronaut band Max Q.
What? So there's an astronaut band?
Yes, there is. They're called
Okay.
Max Q. Yeah.
Do they have any good songs?
I don't know.
You haven't listened to it?
I haven't listened to them. Sorry. I'll move that after this. Okay.
Okay.
So Mission Specialist 1 is someone we've seen before, Richard Heeb. I still forgot how to pronounce that.
Yeah.
He was born September 21st, 1955. He's from Jamestown, North Dakota, home of the world's largest buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
I think I said that last time. He got his MS from the University of Colorado Boulder. He's from Astronaut Group 11. This is his second flight because the last one was STS-39, which we've already done.
Yep.
Mission Specialist 2 is Bruce Melnick. He was born December 5th, 1949. He's from New York.
He's from New York.
Yep. He's from the Coast Guard. He's the only Coast Guard person to ever flown into space.
Oh, wow.
Yep, he's a Coast Guard pilot and aeronautical engineer. He got his MS from the University of West Florida, and he's from astronaut group 12.
Okay.
Oh, I got the wrong STS flight then. Magellan was not deployed on 41 because that was Ulysses because he was on that flight. Maybe it's 34. Maybe it's STS-34 that I'm thinking of. Oh, no.
Okay. Well, you be sure to repeat that multiple times as well.
I will do that, yes.
Thank you.
So this is his last space flight and his second. And he's the first member of the Coast Guard in space.
Okay, first, so he's not the last.
I think he might also be the last. They're too busy partying. Everyone thinks the Coast Guard does nothing. No, they do the most. Because remember, it's the coast. Everyone's like party boating, drug smugglers. You know, that's what they do.
So they're just partying out with them. Okay.
Yeah. So mission specialist 3 is Pierre Thuot. I don't know how to pronounce it. Also, born May 19th, 1955. He's from Groton, Connecticut.
Which subatomic particle is the Groton?
I don't know. He's a Navy pilot and systems engineer with his MS from USC, that's University of South California. He's from astronaut group 11. So he's a representative from the astronaut office for the Canadarm, crew equipment, and EVA equipment.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he also participated in the design, development, and evaluation of space shuttle payloads.
Oh, wow.
Yes. His first flight was on STS-36. This is his second flight.
Dang.
Yeah.
So he's got quite the experience.
Yes. Mission Specialist 4 is Catherine C. Thornton. She was born August 17th, 1952, and she's from Alabama.
Hey, look at that.
She's a physicist. So actually, she's Dr. Thornton from the University of Virginia.
Wow.
And she's from astronaut group 10. So she was a member of the vehicle integration test team on the shuttle.
Okay.
So you start putting stuff into it and they test it to make sure it's everything, right?
You didn't put it in backwards.
Yeah, you plug it in and make sure it turns on or doesn't explode or something like that.
Putting the cup holders upside down. How am I supposed to drink this in space?
Exactly. So she was MS-3 on STS-33. This is her second space flight.
Yeah, you weren't kidding about this being everyone's second space flight.
Now, Catherine here holds the record for longest spacewalks taken by a woman until Suni Williams. She's going to do pretty much every Hubble repair.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And of course, Suni Williams is right now up on the ISS flying Calypso, the Starliner.
Ah, okay.
I think it's
the things
we
just talked about. Nice.
Yeah. So boom, tying all things together.
Yeah, look at that.
Also, I want to make a note here because Starliner has had some issues with the valves and like helium leaks. Everything leaks. Boeing's being really open about this. SpaceX has had similar leaks and problems. They just don't talk about it. Also, you can find reports on little anomalies that happen on the shuttle missions. Like this one will have like valves not open properly all the way, or it'll have little cracking noises somewhere where it shouldn't have them. STS-9 had the APUs catch fire on landing. You know, these things happen on all these missions. You can find the document. Actually, I have the documentation for this flight. Actually, it tells you the SRB performance down to like the point, like the 10th of a second for specific impulse. How accurate it was.
Dang.
Like each motor, it's really interesting. But
wow.
Yeah, so Catherine Thornton does a lot of Hubble repair.
Dr. Thornton.
Yeah.
Dang.
So then our mission specialist 5 is Thomas Akers. He was born May 20th, 1951. He's from St. Louis, Missouri. He's an Air Force pilot and mathematician with his MS from University of Missouri Rolla. It's got a new name now. It's like the Science and Technology University or something like that. He was also on STS-41. This is his second space flight. And the funniest thing is, he was a high school math teacher.
Really?
Yes. And then he saw one of those Air Force recruitment things and said, I should do that. And that's how he started.
Wow. And now he's in space.
Yeah, now he gets to fly the space shuttle. That's on the recruitment stuff now.
Yeah,
You
better
think
be.
about it? Yeah.
Hey, you want to go to space?
Join the Air Force. Yeah. So, of course, our orbiter is Endeavour, OV-105. This is the 47th flight of the Space Shuttle program, STS-49. This is the first flight of Endeavour, as we've established.
Yep.
So
Maiden voyage.
So there's two main objectives for this mission.
Okay.
1, recovery and redeployment of Intelsat 603.
Okay.
The second is test out space station assembly techniques. They have a set of rods and like attachments to do in the payload bay.
Ooh, okay.
Yes.
So they're building stuff. They got.
Yes, they are. It's actually really
so
interesting.
that's why they're bringing 7 people up on the space shuttle. Is that way 2 of them can work and the other can watch. The
other 5 can watch. Yeah.
Yeah.
They also here, so they're doing multiple spacewalks for this.
Okay.
Multiple. They're also gearing up for Hubble repairs because at this point they'd already launched Hubble and Hubble was broken. They got to fix it. One of the articles I read talking about this mission noted how this mission doesn't feel like one from the 90s. It feels more like an early 80s shuttle flight because
Really?
they're doing a satellite recovery, which Shuttle wasn't doing that after Challenger.
Yeah.
And then they're building stuff in the payload bay, which really wasn't done after Challenger.
So it's kind of almost like a return to form.
Yeah, it's weird.
Interesting.
Because the last flight where they assembled like space station techniques was STS-61B. They built a truss in the payload bay, like a really tall truss. Yeah,
Really? Nice. So
Yeah.
they've been gearing up for this then.
pretty much. Yeah, because Space Station Freedom's coming up, and they're trying to determine could the astronauts build this by hand.
Yeah.
But
What?
we'll see when we get into the payload bay. I have some diagrams of what they were planning.
Okay.
So here's the crew in front of their orbiter.
Yeah.
Look at that thing.
Look at it.
And it's also a height gradient, too.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Yep, so there they are in front of their vehicle. Look at that thing. It's
Yeah.
big.
It's big.
We gotta go see these.
Yeah.
So there's one mid-deck experiment, and it's the commercial protein crystal growth experiment.
Growing more crystals. We gotta
Growing some
cook,
crystal.
Jesse.
Yep. So this has been flown on 12 other shuttle missions, so it's not exactly a new thing. So this one's going to examine the growth of protein crystals and microgravity for pharmaceuticals.
It sounds very familiar.
Yep. So normally what they'd fly is, insulin, human growth hormone, interferons, and tissue plasminogen. That sounds like something out of Star Trek.
Yes. We're going to test the sample of tissue plasminogen data?
Yes, of course.
Yes.
After running a level 3 diagnostic, of course. Yeah,
And reconfiguring the deflector dish.
yeah, to do that.
Yeah.
So on this one, they're going to grow some bovine insulin in some cylinders with varying diameters, but they're the same height,
Okay.
to obtain different volumes. So 500, 200, 120 milliliters.
Okay, so decent drinking amounts.
Yeah, you want to drink some bovine insulin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the cylinders allow for small temperature gradients and require less protein solution to grow crystals, theoretically.
Okay.
So this also has the CRIM, Commercial Refrigerator Incubator Module. That
Got a
uses,
little fridge.
Yeah, little heater, little fridge, that uses fuzzy logic AI to control the temperature.
AI! Wow, they're doing that back in the 90s?
Yeah,
Oh. Okay.
yeah.
Cool.
So the temperatures will start at 40 centigrade, so about 104 Fahrenheit, and decrease to 22 centigrade, which is like room temperature.
Okay.
Yeah. So the other experiments that are on board are your standard physiology experiments, radiation monitoring stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and then of course avionics suite to test out to make sure this thing, works.
Does it work in space?
Does it wiggle the right way?
Yeah. Does it leak the correct amounts?
Exactly. So then this is what's in the payload bay. So we got the reboost motor back here, and then we have the assembly techniques over here, and then rods for those.
Because they're building the truss.
Yeah. So this, of course, is the adapter for the Orbis 21 motor, the kick stage. There it is. This is what it's mounted to. Right? It's a solid rocket motor that they mount onto the spacecraft.
Super zip separation system.
That's what it's called. Yeah. It's a quick release.
Zip.
Yes, the Super Zip is the separation system, and they use push-off springs. And I think, if I remember correctly, the push-off spring mechanism that is used to deploy satellites was invented by one of the Marx brothers.
Are you kidding me?
I think it was Zeppo. Yeah, I think one of the Marx brothers invented that.
It was invented by the Marx brothers.
Yeah. So
That's insane.
funny. Yeah, our satellite deployment mechanism was built by one of the Marx brothers.
Yeah, on a shuttle named by children.
Yes. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah. So pretty much what they're gonna do, because there's an adapter, right? for the motor. They have another one of those that'll allow them to reattach it. And it's also adapted and attached to the space shuttle, obviously. And the other thing they have, I didn't include the diagram for it, it's called the capture bar. You'll see pictures of it as we get to the recovery.
The big stick that they wiggle to capture it, I assume?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a big cane, right? And they use to pull you.
Yeah, they just yoink the satellites in. Nice.
So this is the ASEM, which is the astronaut. No, it's like assembly of structures by EVA methods. That's what it's called.
Oh, okay.
So it's got an RMS grapple. You'll see it when they actually build it, right? It's got tubes to connect them together, kind of like when you build like a swing set for kids. For the children that
named it, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like that. So you can see like they're testing out like 5 different tools to see what they can do. They have a little like jet that's kind of like what they used on the Gemini and Skylab missions to move around. It looks like a harpoon almost, like a hook. Yeah, it's weird. It looks so it's like this, and then it comes out with little jet nozzles like that, and you hold it in your hand. You hold it like that. Used to maneuver. It's weird.
What the
I don't think
heck?
they got to test it on this flight, though.
Okay.
Yeah, so different attachment devices and different attachment methods. So you have the berthing adapter, right? So put the different nodes in for the swing set.
Get the thing, get like the ropes attached to the seat and everything.
Yeah. So you got the legs and then struts, of course. So the plan for building Space Station Freedom is to have all these struts in the payload bay, right, back here. And they'd have this truss thing set up, and they would just build modules on top of it for like 8 hours a day.
And
they just
gotta
build
get the full working day in.
Yes. NASA doesn't do this for ISS for obvious reasons.
What are the obvious reasons? Because they're not obvious to me yet.
It's easier to build this thing on the ground and assemble it through EVA, just attaching it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much the big benefit to it. It's easier to just build it to fit in the shuttle payload bay and then use the RMS. When we talk about the ISS and construction of the ISS, we'll talk a bit more about how it's built.
So just prefabricated modules and stick them together is a lot easier than this.
Because again, you think about it, you got to suit up, and you're in this suit for like 8 hours, right?
Yeah.
And you're moving, you got to do all this. I don't know what the structural dynamics of that would be also, too.
Yeah.
All those joints. So it's impractical.
Okay, it makes sense.
So they did test this in the neutral buoyancy facility with, I don't know, a daguerreotype camera, as you can see.
An actual potato.
Yeah. You can tell this is an official government document because it's just photocopier burn.
It's a photocopy of a photocopy of an image of a photocopy.
Yeah, taken from 300 feet away.
I like how you can also see poor quality written at the top.
Of poor quality. That's what it says. It actually does say that in some documents. Like, yeah, it's of poor quality because they all scan them in. So you see what they're doing, right? They're assembling the truss using the different tools with the gloves, right? So they did this in the MBL, I think, in 1989. And now it gets to fly in 1992.
Makes sense. Good, 3-year time gap to lose those skills. That's a good time.
You got to do so many photocopies.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Right? That's part of the process.
Yeah.
So
all the astronauts have to do that.
Yeah, so the experiment they're sort of participating in is they'll fire OMS and RCS with the LACE satellite above, and they'll look for plume stuff. I couldn't find anything else on this except that they're doing this.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so they're also... Because I feel like we've talked about that before, right?
Yeah, that was with the ultraviolet one on Galileo deployment, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the other one. So, of course, here it is at the pad with the
pirate ships going to blast their cannons at it.
That's Columbus's vessels.
Oh.
Those are mock-ups of the... I think the shuttle is bigger than them, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you imagine that? Being an old sailor back then? Ugh.
That would have been horrible.
I'd rather be in the space shuttle for 28 days.
Yeah.
So this is the launch of Endeavour, and look at that go.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right, so the first launch is scheduled for May 4th, 1992, but they push it for 2 days to allow for better launch photography.
Gotta get those better pictures.
Yeah.
It's a maiden voyage of a new shuttle.
You gotta get pictures of it.
Don't want it to be rain-wrapped.
Yeah, exactly. So the launch is then delayed by 34 minutes due to weather at the transatlantic abort site. So
Okay.
it launches on May 7th, 1992 at 7:40 p.m. Eastern.
It's very late in the day.
Yeah. So the first orbit they go, because they do orbit raising to rendezvous, is at 229 by 200 miles, which is like 370 by 320 kilometers, due east out of the Cape, 28.5 degrees.
Nice.
So the first 4 flight days, so it's I think a 7-day mission. Can't remember the specific now. I made the slides 2 weeks ago. I'm sorry. So Endeavour is going to raise its orbit to rendezvous with Intelsat 603 and prepare itself for retrieval operations. This is when they're going to do most of the onboard experiments.
Okay.
And this, of course, is mission control. Look at this caveman technology.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Look at all those CRT monitors.
Look at that TV.
Oh, I thought that was the microwave, and they were just all waiting for their food on that.
Nope. There's a model of Endeavour, of course.
Oh, the boat, not the shuttle.
Yeah, that's the actual
Flying the
shuttle
real thing.
Aerodynamics is really hard, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's the thing with Intelsat: the solar arrays don't like upper atmospheric oxygen.
Okay.
So by lowering the orbit, they're actually committing it to recovery. The free atomic oxygen damages the solar arrays.
Oh.
And they don't get up at geostationary because the atmosphere is not that thick up there, of course.
Right.
But down here, because it's not designed to operate down there. That's the problem. It wasn't supposed to do this.
Yeah, so basically they're dragging it in, and it's going to start to rust unless they repair it.
So this is turning into one of those, like, you got to get there at this time. There's no other option.
You got to get the dramatic music and the sharp angles and the Michael Bay editing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So here's some mission photos of them. So he's reading right now the procedure to eat aspirin before they get into the spacesuits.
Oh, okay.
Because you get a headache from dehydration because of the air mix, right?
Oh.
You're also going to be in this suit for 8 hours. You do have you can do drink from the suit, but it's just the last thing you want to do is start building a truss for 8 hours with a headache.
Yeah. That does not sound like a very pleasant experience.
Yeah. And so, of course, Chile and, is that Melnick? They're chilling with their, that's part of the treadmill.
Are there I thought there were bees in there again.
Oh, God, there's no bees on this one.
Oh, God.
That'd be terrifying.
We're not putting bees on the first mission, all right? Got to leave that for the second.
Yeah. It's part of the development process. Got to put bees on it at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, there's Thornton. They're all chilling. They're having fun.
Yeah.
And the one problem, they have 90s fashion now. Look at that polo with the stripes and the white. Ugh.
Yeah. Also, look at the glasses.
Yeah.
He's wearing, covering up his face.
And look at this. The general purpose computers, the laptops. Oh, man.
Ooh, yeah.
And so here they are. I think these are parts of the spacesuits they're getting ready for.
Okay. At least they look excited about it.
Oh, yeah. You get up in the spacesuits, got the watches, got all the... and there's the hatch. So that's the airlock right there.
So that's the door they got to go out.
Is that the airlock hatch? I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, they're inspecting something. Maybe they're looking at the bovine insulin.
Do you think I could take a sip yet?
No.
Okay, so later then.
And then here we have the fax machine.
Beautiful.
And then one of the windows got hit by a micrometeorite.
Ooh.
Yep.
Ouch.
It's badge of honor. Now it's flown in space. That's how you know.
Yeah. I like it when I'm taking my car off the assembly line for the first drive and a micrometeorite smacks into the windshield and breaks it. That's the best part.
Was when Dad got his 94 pickup truck, as he was like on the highway bringing it home, a rock came off a truck and put a dent, there's the crack in the glass.
Yeah.
I think he got that the first day.
Yeah, he drove it like straight off the assembly line and it
Yeah,
it got hit by a rock
at the factory.
Yeah, and it broke immediately. And it was just there.
Well, it also had the bad temperature sensor. That's why it never
got.
got the gas mileage it was supposed to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he fixed it when he sold it. So, So, it's May 10th, mission day 4. Getting ready for what you're supposed to do here. Intelsat recovery.
Yeah.
Okay, so at this point, they're at 242 by 230 miles, which is about 390 by 372 kilometer orbit, and Intelsat has slowed the rotation of the spacecraft from 10.5 RPM to 0.65 RPM.
So it's barely turning.
Yeah. It's called a control box. Pretty much, it's like, here's a spot in space near Endeavour where you're supposed to be, based in relation to the spacecraft.
Okay.
Okay? So the first EVA is gonna happen. EVA 1, so that's the guy in the red stripe. That's Pierre. I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Is
and
it
EVA
Thought?
What? I don't know. EVA 2 is Hebe. And then
Hybe.
RMS, yeah, Hybe, I'll say Hybe. And then RMS is Melnick. So here's the plan. So Woe is going to be at the end of the RMS with the capture bar, right?
Okay.
And he's going to put it up here, pretty much, at the right capture bar, right? He's going to grapple onto it, as you can see here in this diagram, right?
Okay.
So you can see. On the capture bar, of course, you have a grapple fixture for the RMS. So they've attached the grapple bar. RMS will take it. It's going to lower it over the motor. They'll take the grapple arm off and lower the spacecraft onto the motor and then bolt it on.
Okay.
So they have 4 attachment points and then 2 electrical connectors, right? Because you got to talk to the motor from spacecraft.
Right, you gotta plug in the USB adapter.
Yeah, got Ethernet, all those.
Yeah.
And of course, got to do it like 5 times. It's like, how do you put this in?
Yeah.
So then, once they're done, the crew will prime springs designed by, Zeppo Marx. So that will push the satellite away from Endeavour, and it'll go on its way. 2 years late.
Yes.
So at 4:25 p.m., the EVA begins. Now, this is the, second mission we've done where they do satellite recovery. I'm sorry for doing that. I just think these missions are interesting, okay?
Yeah, they are. I think so.
Again, we get to, the space hab missions. It's, oh, look, you're growing proteins. Wonderful.
Getting more of that bovine insulin.
Yeah, and some bees.
More bees.
So for the last 2 satellite recovery missions, things have gone wrong.
Yes.
Will things work perfectly on this one?
Absolutely not.
Of course not.
It's a satellite recovery mission.
It never works. Okay, so here they are suiting up. This is what the airlock looks like, by the way, as you can see inside it.
That's
It's got the
very
lights.
clean.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
It's brand spanking new, too.
Oh, yeah, it's fresh off the assembly line.
Yeah. There's crayon marks somewhere in there, from the children.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. It's where the camera's not pointing. That's where all these crayon marks are.
So here goes Pierre with the capture bar, as you can see. And here's a
great image. Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. And here he is. And see how big the satellite is, too?
Yeah, that's pretty big.
This is one of the biggest ever launched at the time.
Wow.
Yeah. They've only gotten bigger. It's like 4.5 tons.
Jeez.
Yeah. It's enormous. So remember, it's rotating a little bit. So what he's going to do is going to capture it and stop it from rotating. RMS will then lower it.
Is he going to be able to stop it from rotating?
No.
Yeah, I don't think he would have the torque, because that's a big satellite rotating at a decent speed.
It doesn't latch. For some reason, the grapple fixture doesn't latch.
Dang it.
Yep. So he tries this 2 more times, but then, of course, they call off the EVA because you got rendezvous propellant, right? You know what you're doing here. It also starts to nutate, so it starts to wobble a little bit. You don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And, of course, by doing this, also, the RMS has been moved into positions that it doesn't really like to be in.
Okay.
Right? It's like, you're stretching, you're putting your arm in weird, awkward places. That's what happens with the RMS.
It gets tired?
It doesn't get tired. It just, it's harder to move, and it gets it doesn't like being in those, places.
Doesn't like moving.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So they go back. So the next day, they try again. Intelsat, they stop, they reorient it, they stop the nutation, they get it all ready. Right, Pierre, Hybe, and Melnick are ready. This EVA is 5.5 hours long.
Oof.
Okay, this one's unscheduled, by the way.
Oh.
So, he gets on the RMS, he gets the capture bar up, but now he tries to use less force to get the bar to seat, right, to grapple on. One attempt, he feels like it works. It doesn't. It slowed a bit, but it didn't stop.
Okay.
So Pierre would say that it was much more dynamic than their training had led them to believe. So in the NBL, they actually had a big mock-up. You can find pictures of the satellite and tried to move it around. The problem is NBL, you have drag from water, whereas space,
right, There's no space water, so
Yeah. So they go back. And they say, okay, take a day off. Let's figure something out. Right? So pretty much right after this, Hybe and Chili start figuring out, on the flight deck, start planning out, okay, how do we do this? And everyone else comes up with, again, they're supposed to be resting, right? No, they all come up, they got to fix it.
Okay.
Melnick has an idea. What do you think it is?
Take a big stick and try and fling it the other way.
Well, did you look at the first picture on the first slide?
No, I wasn't paying attention.
Who said you needed two guys to do it? It's a three-man job. Instead, you have three people on the EVA. Endeavour has 4 spacesuits,
Okay.
right? Because you have different EVAs, because Akers is going to go out with Thornton to do the other one, right? So you have 4 spacesuits.
Okay.
So then what they'll do is they'll maneuver Endeavour under the spacecraft. They'll have the 3 guys standing in the payload bay, and they'll catch it themselves.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. So what they do, and this is really interesting actually, because the big controlling item was, could you fit 3 spacesuits in the airlock? Right?
Oh yeah, because
With people, right? You see that's kind of bulky.
yeah.
So on the ground, Story Musgrave, Jim Voss, and Michael Clifford actually tested this out. They suited themselves up and saw if they could fit.
And
They
did
can.
Yeah.
The other thing here is, so Chile actually sketched out the EVA plan because Mission Control thought they were sleeping right there in the rest period, and he actually drew it up, and they have TV cameras, so he showed it to them on that.
This is dramatic.
Oh yes, this is. And remember, again, they only have one chance to get the satellite, because if they have to go back, it's going to be dead, right?
Yeah.
You know, so this is getting pretty intense. So May 13th, one of the longest EVAs ever taken, actually the longest at the time.
Oh wow. Okay.
So it's Pierre, Hybe, and Tom Akers, these 3 guys here, and then Melnick on the RMS, 8.5 hours.
Dang.
So we'll see pictures of this, right? So to capture the satellite with their bare hands. That was actually one of the considerations was, how hot would the surface of the spacecraft be?
Oh yeah, because it's just been baking in the sun this whole time.
It has to be less than 160 degrees Fahrenheit, which it is,
Okay.
right? So what they're going to do is they'll mount themselves in the payload bay. So they actually have like foot attachment points. You see this in the other satellite recovery missions to mount themselves in the payload bay, right? So it's not to anchor themselves. So what the middle guy, Akers, I think it is going to use truss segments from the other experiment to support himself in the middle.
Oh wow.
Right? So Brandon Side will then move Endeavour under the satellite. They'll grab it. They'll stop it from spinning, attach the capture bar, and then put it and complete the mission the way they were supposed to.
Wow. Okay. They're just they're like, we're just gonna grab it.
Yes.
Finally.
So the first attempt, they're rising up. It looks like it's spinning the wrong way, right? It's too much. They say they call it off. So they wait 15 minutes, and then they go back.
Okay.
And then they grab it. And it's, Houston, I think we've got a satellite. So they put the capture bar on. They move it back, put it on the motor, and let her go.
Wow.
12:52 a.m. on May 14th.
Dang.
This is the first and only 3-person EVA to have ever taken place.
Wow. That is awesome.
Yes. And the longest EVA until STS-102 in March 2001.
Wow.
And that's an ISS assembly mission.
Yeah, that makes sense. Why you'd have all the astronauts out there then.
Yeah.
That is incredible.
And look at all the suit stuff they got out, too.
Yeah.
Look at the gloves and the handles. And yeah. It's a risky move, by the way, right?
Well, yeah, they didn't even know if all 3 of them could fit in the airlock to begin with.
So here they go. They're building up the truss. So Pierre, of course, has the red bands
Okay.
on his legs. And, of course, that's the motor, as you can see.
Right. All
Look at
bagged
that.
up.
Yeah, it's got the insulation on it. Yeah, so building up that. And you can see here, right? So you got this is the support structure for EVAs, and then he's on the strut from ASEM.
Ah.
And you can see they've captured it. And it looks like they're putting on the capture bar now in this picture.
That is incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, so there they are. And you can see there's the capture bar.
Look at
Just
that.
look at that. It's just amazing. And there's a few close-up images of the spacecraft that were taken.
Look at that.
Yeah. So you can see the wiring for the solar arrays there. And so
Yeah.
what this is the slide mechanism. So as you can so this actually is this part is actually another solar array. There's another one behind it. This slides down
Oh.
up at geostationary to provide power. Yeah. This all comes sliding down.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's just the mechanism that does that.
It's part of the mechanisms, yeah.
That's
Look at that.
incredible.
That's been in space for 2 years.
Looks pretty good.
Oh, yeah. And it's just, look at that big thing, too.
Yeah.
And then there it goes.
Farewell.
Yeah, there's a lot of good pictures of this thing after deployment, too.
Kind of looks like a trash can in the second one. I'm sorry. It's the black.
It's the insulation.
Yeah.
Well, it's, So, it's time for the other one.
Oh yeah, I gotta build stuff now.
Yeah, the other hard part of this mission. So the mission's actually extended by 2 days, so they could do this. And there were supposed to be 2 EVAs for this, but one of them was canned and cut down to 1.
Oh, okay.
So this one's on May 14th. Catherine Thornton, she's with the red stripe, and then Tom Akers with without a stripe. This one is 7 3/4 hours, which is, I think, the second longest EVA ever undertaken in the space shuttle program at the time, after the first, which they did the day before.
Just breaking the records.
Yeah, so they're testing out. Yeah, they're building the structures. We'll have don't worry, I have pictures of it.
Okay.
Test a propulsive device. They start constructing a truss, and then the K upper band antenna breaks. So they have to manually stow it,
Ooh.
which cuts the EVA by a bit. So they aren't able to accomplish everything for that part of the mission.
Okay.
But
Yeah, something breaks.
yeah, it's the first flight.
It's brand new.
It's brand new. Yeah, so you can see this is actually one of the things they have. It's the cable, like a rappelling device almost, like something to pull them back.
Oh, okay.
It's actually one of them, yeah. So here they are. So here Akers is doing his assembly. I think this is one of the cable things he was using. So you can see the cables there.
Oh yeah.
Right. So here he is building it. And you can see again the gym for the children, the name of the shuttle.
Yeah.
And this is Thornton out doing her assembly. I have a bigger picture of her where she is on the next slide.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what she built there. That's what they're building. This big truss structure.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And then they end up building this.
That whole thing.
That whole thing. Well, yeah. And you can see this is where they store the struts and the legs, right? On this side, and the other side is the other one.
Right in those lines. Yeah.
And you can see this is all that. This is what they built.
Dang.
All those truss supports. They had to take it all apart too. And of course, here's our good friend, the K upper band antenna that broke that they had to put back.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I like that it had a cameo.
Yep. There, wave.
Wave.
I think this is Catherine.
Red stripe. See a red stripe.
I think that's her. Yep. And this is the toolbox.
By McDonnell Douglas.
Yep.
Nice.
And you see the support structure in the back where they mounted there's the motor support, obviously, and then IMAX camera spot. They have TV cameras there.
Ah, all right. That's where Christopher Nolan's hiding.
Yeah. And you can see this is where they worked on the whole thing. It's still supported and it's all built.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And of course, you got this.
That's great.
That's a good one.
Taking a selfie with the astronaut out in space.
There's a few of those you can find with EVA missions.
That's great.
Yep. And then that's the mission. So Endeavour lands at Edwards Air Force Base at about 2 p.m. on May 16th, 1992. It spent 8 days, 21 hours, 17 minutes, and 38 seconds. 141 orbits in space.
Incredible.
This mission marks the longest EVAs undertaken at the time, proving the shuttle is capable of supporting a lot of EVAs, especially since we're going to do Hubble servicing missions coming up. Mm-hmm. And the only 3-person EVA ever done. So Intelsat 603 made it to orbit on May 21st at 34.5 degrees west and remained there until 1997. Then it was moved to 24.5 west. That's like the middle of the Atlantic. Right? Because South America has the point right in Brazil, and it goes to Africa.
Yeah.
It's between those.
Okay.
Until August 2002. Then it's moved to 20 degrees west until March 2010. And then it's moved to 11.5 east before being moved out of geostationary orbit in January 2013. And it's been a graveyard orbit since at least 2015. So it did its job.
Yeah.
That's very successful. I think they were talking $150 million loss in 1992 money. Yeah.
Ooh, that's like $1 billion in today's money.
Like $500 million. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm exaggerating for comedic effect.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here's the course the drag chute deployed for landing.
Very cool.
You can see where it's mounted.
It's mounted right back there, yeah.
Yeah, there it is. The crystal growth experiment resulted in larger crystals than those grown on Earth. I have a slide with the pictures of that.
So. Jesse, we were able to cook such large crystals, Jesse.
Exactly. It's the purity, it's the chemical, the beauty of the chemistry, Jesse.
99% purity, Jesse. You can't get that on Earth.
So I took one. There's a few good black and white images of the spacecraft that were taken, and I, of course, added our color grade to them, which I think that looks nice, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's so cool. Yeah, so actually, these motors here are the ones that put it into orbit, to geostationary orbit. It'd go on a bi-elliptic transfer, actually. So the apogee would be way higher than geostationary, and at that high altitude, they would fire these motors to raise perigee up to geostationary and also do some trajectory course maneuvers, and then put itself into that correct orbit.
Yeah, because out there would be the best time to do it, the best place.
Yeah, especially for plane change maneuvers. And then, So this is a camera, I think.
Okay.
Or a vernier thruster. One of these ports is cameras, one of these is a vernier thruster. So, it's pretty cool. And then here's the morphometry of the length of single crystals. So you can see this flew on a few shuttle missions, 39, 37, 43, 49. So the ground ones are the dashed lines, right?
Yeah, wow, those are really small by comparison.
Oh, yeah, these are really big crystals.
Yeah.
Bovine insulin, man.
Slinging the crystal.
Sling that bovine crystal.
Yeah.
And that is STS-49, the first flight of Endeavour.
That is a fantastic maiden voyage.
It worked really well.
Except for the trusses.
Except for the K upper band antenna, yeah. Yeah. That's the first flight of Endeavour. And of course, as we're recording this one first, but as we all know, Endeavour would be lost in 2003 when it landed in the Los Angeles River because the Earth's core stopped spinning.
Yep. And threw off their magnetic
inertial guidance
system.
Yeah. So, yeah, this will be fun. Endeavour's good shuttle. Good name scheme. By children.
Literal children. Here's one of the literal children that named it.
I think children also named the other shuttles. I can't remember specifically. When we get to those first flights, we'll discuss it.
Okay. But you know what? I'd trust children to name stuff over the internet. So
that is true.
A smart choice by NASA.
Spacey McSpace face.
Yeah.
All right. So the next episode we'll be covering ISEE-3, one of my favorite space missions.
Yeah.
That'll be a fun one.
Oh yeah.
Woo.
Woohoo.
Yeah. So that's STS-49. What did we learn today?
I learned that you should always have your spacecraft named by literal children.
Yep.
You should always make your systems based off of the Marx Brothers.
Yep.
When NASA can't figure it out, astronauts in space will figure it out and jerry-rig something for you. When in doubt, grab a satellite by it with your hands. Because that seems to be the easiest solution.
Yeah. I know there's one more satellite repair mission, and that's one of the lease sats. Because it broke and they fixed it with a fly swatter. That's what it's called. That's what the repair device is called.
The fly swatter.
We'll do that one eventually. Don't worry. We're not doing that one next.
Okay.
The next shuttle mission's STS-8. That one's completely different than this.
All right.
Yeah. Well, one of the reasons why I'm focusing on these is when I think these missions are really cool. And again, when we get to this one where it's like Space Lab and Space Hab, remember STS-51F where I had to discuss for 87 slides all 800 experiments?
No, I don't remember that.
There were so many experiments. There's
many.
There's a lot of experiments going up on shuttle missions. You know, on a science platform. Weird, right?
That doesn't sound right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doing science on a science platform? What are they going to come up with next?
Children, right?
Yeah. Did children do the mission planning too?
Oh, jeez. All right. Any final remarks for this episode?
Nope. I can't think of any funny comments except I'm definitely stealing the name Resolution. That sounds cool.
That's a good name for a space shuttle. It's better than remember that one movie with Nicole Kidman and Daniel Craig that was a remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers?
No.
They named that the shuttle. It's like some parasite that makes you communist or something.
Mm-hmm.
And the space shuttle in that one was called Patriot.
Wow.
It's a dumb name for a shuttle.
That is a really dumb name for a shuttle.
You know what the first name for Enterprise was?
Don't tell me. Do not tell me.
It's Constitution. Star Trek fans renamed it.
That is kind of funny though, because Enterprise is a Constitution class starship. But
yeah, so there we go, and it never flew in space.
And it never flew in space. That is really funny.
There's a joke in there somewhere. Yeah, so that's Endeavour. Woohoo!
Yeah, this has been End of Mission.